This movie will give you an overview of the landmark 2008 plant database. Now, the first thing I want you to check in looking at this movie is that you have the correct workspace selected, and that would be the landmark ANZ workspace, as I have checked in this list. So the first time you want to access the plant database, you now do it from within Vectorworks. In fact, you always do it from within Vectorworks. And you can access it by choosing this item here, or once you're up and running and you're creating plants, you can also access it from the Edit Plant Definition dialog by clicking the Get Plant Data button and the Open Vectorworks Plants. But in this case, we're going to access it from the VW Plants database, and this is what I recommend that you do first off. Now, the first time that you come here, it's going to ask where you want to store the database, and the default location is in your user folder, but if you'd prefer to put it in a specific location, you can click Browse for Database Folder and then click the Browse button and choose where you want it saved to. And if you're in an office where there are going to be multiple people using Vectorworks Landmark and you all want to share one database, then you probably want to create a workgroup folder. And currently this is grayed out, but in Vectorworks Preferences you can create a workgroup folder. I'll show you that in a moment. Let's just go with this option and click OK. And this is now copying the plant database from the Vectorworks folder into the user folder, and now it's launching the plant database. Now, just to answer that previous question, or to finish up on that previous point, in Vectorworks Preferences you'll see that under User Folders you can add a workgroup or project folder. So again, in an office where you have a number of people who want to access the same plant database, then the idea is that you would create a workgroup folder and the first, and then save the plant database into that location. Alright, so going back to the plant database, this is what will then open, which is the new 2008 plant database, and it has some nice features. Firstly, you can, and there'll be another movie that describes how to do searches in the database, but here we're just covering the basics. We've got the controls up here which are the same as the ones in this view menu here, which are Browse, Find and Preview. Basically Browse and Find are the two that you'll be using most. Here we have some various layouts, and we'll come to those in a moment. Again, the three that you're going to use are these three at the top here: Australian Data, which is this one, the list, which will give you a list of plants, and the third one, which is web data, and we'll get there in a moment. You can scroll through each plant by clicking here. This is like thumbing through the records. We're on record 4 of 1146. If you knew that you wanted to go to record 600, you could also type in 600 there and press enter, and you'll jump to record 600. We can use the buttons up the top here. When you hover over them, they will tell you what they do: print, spell check, and so on. You've got to create a new record if you wanted to create a new record in the database, duplicate an existing record if you want to create one that's very similar to one you've already got, or delete a record. We can then use the sort and omit record, and these are kind of search functions which we'll look at in a minute. So let's look at that other layout that we talked about, and this is the web data layout. And in the web data layout, this is a really useful feature, because provided you're online, Vectorworks is automatically going to find or do a Google image search for the currently selected plant, and as I thumb through these, this is going to load up. I can also do just a straight Google search if I click that option, or if I click a Wikipedia option, then I'll also get the Wikipedia search, which will take a little bit longer to load. There we go. And let's jump back to the Google Images. So then if you find an image there that you like, if you're on a Macintosh, you can just drag and drop it into the field up here. And bear in mind, just be a little bit conscious of the size of these images. Some of them are quite big, some of them are quite small. This one's 14K, this one's 141K. Now think about 1146 times 3 images times 141K. It means that the database can get quite big. So don't just randomly drag images in here unless you have a need for them. On a PC, to get an image into here, what you need to do is to right click on here, choose copy image, and then come over here, right click again and choose paste, and that will paste that image in there. Once you go back to the Oz data view, then those images are obviously going to be in there for that particular plant. Now the other thing that has changed is how you get information out of the database into Vectorworks. When I say changed, I mean from Vectorworks Landmark 12.5. You'll see here that there's an item here that says create Vectorworks plant list, and this is what you do when you have a set of plants here that you want to export as a group into Vectorworks. Let's jump back to Vectorworks and explain what I mean by that. You'll see here that I have the plant tool selected, and let's say I want to edit a plant, and we'll click edit definition and then choose get plant data. Now the dialog that opens here has a plant list up here, and we have exported the plants as they're categorized in the broad category in the plant database: aquatics, climbers, ferns, grasses, ground cover, and so on. And as you choose each one of these, then that particular group of plants will be displayed in this list, and you'll be able to click on the plants in the list and choose the particular plant. Now, jumping back to the database, the ones that we have exported are the ones in this list here. That's what I'm talking about. But you might like to add a different grouping in here. So for example, you might like Japanese plants and like to have a grouping of Japanese plants. You can edit this list by choosing edit here, and there's the list that's already there. So you can type a carriage return and put Japanese in here, for example. Click OK, and then Japanese will be something that you can then choose from this list. So you would then add your Japanese plants that you like, or choose ones that are already in here, and find all of the Japanese plants by using the find option here, and there'll be another movie that talks about how to find. And once you've got the set of plants that you want, then you could choose create Vectorworks plant list. Let me give you another example. You might do a lot of work in the Randwick municipality in Sydney. So if we do a find here for everything that's in Randwick by typing Randwick in there, let's get the spelling right, and hitting the find button, it's going to find 41 plants that are endemic to Randwick. Now if I want those particular plants to appear as a group within Vectorworks, then I have them found here. I've got 41 found out of 1146. I can then go up here, create Vectorworks plant list, and let's call this Randwick. Click OK, and that's now been exported. Now we'll just export out of this for a moment and then click get plant data again, and now you'll see in here we've got the Randwick list, and if I choose Randwick, then we'll get the 46 plants that are endemic to Randwick. So that's how you can use the plant list to get the information grouped into ways that are convenient for you. Now these plant lists are stored in the place where you asked Vectorworks to be saved. Let's have a look at that now, or where the plant database to be saved. Let's have a look at that now. Firstly on the Mac, we'll go to the Macintosh Finder, and this is the install folder. This is the Vectorworks 2008 folder, and what got installed in there was a folder called Plant Database, and here are the default groups of plants that we've in that plant list that you can see. And when you first open the plant database in a Vectorworks landmark, this folder gets copied from the Vectorworks folder to your user folder. And here is my user folder over here, and you can see here it is. It's on the Macintosh hard drive under users, my name, and so on, down to application support, Vectorworks 2008, and there is the plant database. And if I open that folder, you'll see in there's the Randwick file that we just created. Here's the plant database, and here are the plant lists. If I want to delete these plant lists and create a whole new set, then I just select them and hit delete, and that will remove all of these plant lists. So you might like having the trees ones, but you might want to have the ferns or whatever. So you can just delete these plant sets and recreate them as you want them. Now on Windows, it's pretty similar to this. In Windows, the default location for the Vectorworks installation is on your C drive in Program Files, and then down here you'll see the Vectorworks 2008 folder, and scrolling down a bit further you can see the plant database, and in there all of the default things that we were just looking at on the Mac are all here on the Windows, on the PC as well. The plant database is in this folder here. So when you first open the plant database from within Vectorworks, then all of this information gets transferred over to your user folder, and this is the user folder, the default one on Windows, but again remember you can save this to the place that you nominate if you use the Browse button. So Vista, Users, Administrator, App Data, Roaming, Nemitz-Check, Vectorworks 2008, Plant Database, here it is here, and here's the database and all of those files again. So on a PC, if you want to delete any of those plant groups that we've created for you, it's just a matter of deleting these files here, and then those groupings won't appear within Vectorworks. Okay, let's go back to Vectorworks now and just reiterate. So now if we want to open the plant database, we can do it directly from here, and that will jump you straight to the plant database. If you want to find out where the plants are in the Finder or in Windows Explorer, you can choose that option here. This was the Create Vectorworks Plant List, and this is importing a Vectorworks 12 plant list. Going back to Vectorworks again, just to reiterate, in the Plant tool, when you click the Preferences button and you edit a plant, then clicking the Get Plant Data button will open the plant list, and in here you'll see any of the plant lists that you've created or the ones that we've created. And if you remember, if you delete any of those ones in the Mac Finder or in Windows, then they'll be removed from this list as well. And when you choose a plant here and click OK, then that automatically gets loaded into the plant list information here. We'll talk about the plant tool in another movie.